And we left part 3 of the complete rise and fall of Bellator MMA on a bit of a low note after their Bellator 138 event and the terrible main event between Kimbo Slice and Ken Shamrock. But this next event that we're going to talk about, Bellator 142, I would say is honestly, even to the end of their promotion's tenure, I think one of the best events skill-wise that they put together. I think there was amazing fights from the start to the end of the card. At this point in time, the MMA landscape was in a little bit of a juxtaposition because the UFC had just signed the Reebok deal, and there were fighters that were attempting to leave the UFC, go into different promotions like Bellator so they can continue to have sponsors. And this card, obviously, you see who's headlining the card, Tito Ortiz against Liam McGarry, and it was a title fight, so they were trying to really optimize Tito Ortiz, who had gone 2-0 to start in their promotion, and see if he can win the title or kind of create a star in Liam McGarry. And like I said, with the Reebok deal happening, they were able to sign a few UFC fighters that were big at the time and make this card a real spectacle. So this was an awesome card for Bellator, and this is how we're going to start it off, Bellator 142. And so the first major signing that we're going to talk about that Bellator had for this card was Josh Thompson. And Josh Thompson is a fighter that actually became much more than a fighter for the Bellator promotion. He became one of the biggest flag bearers for the brand. He was someone that was a great commentator for them. He was able to do play-by-play. He was able to go behind the desk and do analysis work. He still has a podcast with Big John, so he ended up being a really vital piece for Bellator, and he ended up doing really well in Bellator, but this is going to be his debut, like they just said. At this time, obviously, he was still a very well-known fighter. He's still one of the better fighters in the world, but you see that he had lost his last 2 in a row in the UFC and was coming in not necessarily at the top of the MMA world at that point, so he was trying to rebuild in Bellator. And the next signing they had was a much more groundbreaking.
Oh, Mr. Wonderful Davis!
The signing we are talking about is Phil Davis. And the reason why this was so pivotal at the time is because Bellator had been able to sign some big names, like we had just talked about Josh Thompson, even some other guys that were pretty big names in the MMA space at that time. But they had failed to take someone that was still in their prime and someone that was in the top 10, top 5 in the world, you could argue could become still the best in the world. And that's what Phil Davis signified. He was still someone that was in the hunt for the title in the UFC. He was actually really kind of being built up to fight John Jones. Him and John Jones had words multiple times where they were talking to each other at press conferences when they used to do the phone calls on the UFC as well. And Phil Davis had actually beaten Glover Teixeira. He'd gotten some amazing wins in the UFC. He did great as a UFC fighter, but he was the first guy that decided to gamble on himself, go to the last fight of his contract. He fought Ryan Bader. He lost by split decision. And I think the UFC wanted to re-sign him, or actually I know the UFC wanted to re-sign him, and he decided to go where there was more money and sign with Bellator, and that created a ripple in the MMA community where people were beginning to wonder if this whole Reebok deal was going to maybe give Bellator some momentum, shift some dynamics in the MMA world.
Member of the Bellator MMA team. He just signed last Wednesday to be exact. One of the very best 205-pounders in the world, and now he is switching teams. His name, Phil Davis, Mr. Wonderful. He joins us right now on the phone. Phil, how are you?
Hey, what's going on, Ariel? How are you?
I'm doing great. Congratulations on the new deal. My first question is, why did you sign with Bellator?
Yeah, it seems to be the question everyone likes to ask, and it's to me, it's I think it's like one of the most obvious, but it's like anything, you know. It's fighting is a job for me. I love it, but at the same time, it is what pays the bills, you know. I'm sure you love your job at the MMA Hour, and you would cry if you had to leave. But if there were a reason why you would leave, it might be a job opportunity somewhere else, am I correct?
Sure. Everyone knows
But
it's a
there would have
business.
to be more in it, right?
What's that? Say it again?
But there would have to be more in it. There would have to be something, you know, that would draw
reason.
you in, you know?
Yeah, reason, right.
Shorts, I made about $86,000 just for the shorts. And then my fight against Benson Henderson, I made close to 100. So those were the numbers, but then they came in with the Reebok deal. That was another reason why I was like, man, I got to leave the UFC because that's a lot of money.
And I'm going to let Scott Coker tell you guys a little bit about Bellator Dynamite, Bellator 142, because this was a very unique event that I actually think has some potential if it is done right, but ultimately, let's hear what the idea was, and then let's see how the event goes down.
And the mega event is going to be a three-tiered show, and the first part is going to be a big title fight, and you guys know our current world champion in the light heavyweight division, Liam McGarry, and he is going to be competing against Tito Ortiz. This is a fight that Tito said to me, I want it. And he's been bugging me and bugging me and bugging me. And honestly, I said, look, Tito, you've already fought everybody. You know, why don't we find, you know, this person or that person? He said, no, I want to fight for the title. So we're going to give him the title shot. And I think that's the first graphic here. So that's our main event for September 19th at the SAP Arena. Tickets are on sale next Friday. At Ticketmaster and at the Arena box office, and the pre-sales are Wednesday and Thursday. If you sign up to Bellator.com, you can get the passcode. And then there's already some rumors around, and I thought, you know what, this would be a great place to put together some, you know, some kickboxing. And I met with Pierre Scott Rudman I'd say about 6-7 months ago, and I put together a couple graphics, which you guys will see later, saying, hey, what if we did something really unique like this? And they said, okay, let's do it. So it kind of went back and forth, but I'm proud to say that we are going to have a hybrid show, and 3 fights will be the Glory kickboxing. And Tito Ortiz will be the main event, and then the Glory portion of the kickboxing fights will have Joe Schilling in a kickboxing match, as well as Paul Daly. And then we're going to introduce one more fight here in the near future. And what he's putting up is the artwork for the Glory event. And then are we ready to introduce okay, so here is the third part of our event, which I'm really excited about. And I know that, you know, Bellator has done tournaments in the past and over a period of time. And hey, listen, Strikeforce put on probably one of the greatest heavyweight tournaments of all time. With Fedor and Alistair and Fabrizio Verdum, and you know, I've always been a believer of tournaments, but for the last year we really haven't done any tournaments. But I felt like the time is right, and we talked to Mr. Andy Foster, and I said, look, Andy, I want to do a 4-man tournament in the light heavyweight division, and he said, okay. I said, but the difference is I want to do it all in one night. So these guys are going to fight each other on the same night. They're going to fight twice, and the participants are King Mo Lawal, Emmanuel Newton, Phil Davis, and Linton Vassell. Linton's, yeah. Okay, so Linton Vassell is on his way here. He'll be here later tonight.
There were some previous reports that this will definitely be partly in a cage and then partly in a ring.
Right.
I just want to confirm if that's the case.
Yeah, so this will be the first time I think I've ever seen this done. I don't know if you guys can see it, but when you walk into HP Pavilion, you're going to have a cage and you're going to have a ring, just like this. So
there you have it. That's the setup for Bellator 142, Bellator Dynamite. Honestly, man, I think that's the way to go. If you're an MMA promotion, I feel like differentiating yourself from the UFC, but keeping it still more prime fighters and making it fun, man. Like this one-night tournament, the kickboxing MMA, I don't know if people like that, but I think it's pretty cool. And if you could get the right fighters, you can get the right fights, and you could set up stuff like this that goes down the correct way. I think, this is the way to potentially build Bellator. And I think this was a really smart event for them at the time, especially with all the turmoil that we just heard about with the reasons the fighters were coming to Bellator with the Reebok situation. And I feel like this should have been the way they continue the path down building their company.
Started it all right here.
I remember you told me 20 years ago, bro. Like, I'm gonna put a ring in a cage in the same arena.
With King Mo and Linton Vassell, their destiny is in their own hands. Fight! It is here. Dynamite is underway. Now he was up 2-0 on a minute. Oh! Big shot by King Mo in the early going.
And Vassell is hurt.
Vassell in trouble again. Now King Mo follows up.
These are power shots. That was a bad one.
Vassell trying to take down an All-American, and that's what happens.
Look for the return slam.
And there it is.
Advancing to the tournament championship is King Mo.
Emmanuel Newton is one of the strangest, most unorthodox fighters you will see. He looks beatable, but yet thrives as an underdog. The much-anticipated Bellator debut of Mr. Wonderful, Phil Davis, as blue chip gets.
Man, he's going hard for that Kimura.
Emmanuel Newton trying to get the legs free so he can sweep out of it. He's in huge trouble, and it's over. A visceral, efficient, effective, and dominant Bellator debut for Mr. Wonderful Phil Davis.
That's the kind of thing.
This fight, Jimmy, the one he has waited for his whole life. For over a decade, he's been one of the top lightweights in the world. Some unforgettable moments. Josh Thompson had one condition for Scott Coker to come here to Bellator. I have to be part of Dynamite in San Jose.
Thompson goes for the arm triangle.
Zulis trying to defend it. He can't, and it's over just like that. Josh Thompson dominated 2 rounds, waiting for the one opportunity as soon as Mike Bronzulis gave it to him.
Historic night of combat sports in North America. This is Dynamite.
It's exciting, man. The way they got both the rings set up, I don't know which way to turn my head.
It's my first time ever watching kickboxing live, so that's great.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for glory.
We continue with the glory kickboxing portion of Dynamite. Melendez all over Hadley Griffin. Melendez has done a terrific job of mixing up her attack. 2 rounds, but exchange now as they go down the stretch.
Your winner, Paul Day.
Catalari to the ropes, and Catalari doesn't want to be.
Last time it was the left head kick. This time it's the right head kick. Italo Cassius Clay Cavallari is the new Glory Light Heavyweight Champion. What a night it has been, and what a night it continues to be. Hope you've enjoyed the Glory kickboxing action. Bellator MMA continues.
I'm not worried about it. C'est quoi? Okay. Francis? Ah, c'est Francis? Yes. There we go. There we go.
We knew we'd see history. We knew there could be plot twists along the way. Francis Carmon, the veteran who fights under GSP, suddenly steps into the biggest fight of his life. What an opportunity.
The biggest opportunity of his career. Hopefully he's fresh, had plenty of rest, but it's about getting warmed back up again. Very tough fight in front of him. Oh my God!
Huge left! Jason Dawson giving the extra time, but it was never in doubt. Wow! The blue chip free agent Phil Davis is dominant. He'll finally get that shot at the light heavyweight world title.
Carmon. It was like, Linton Mo Carmon, would you make up your, you know what I mean? It's just like, it was like an emotional roller coaster for a second. I was like, we were out there, we were fighting, and GSP is calling out stuff in French, and I'm like, GSP, like, stop, man.
This, I think, is the most emotional fight of his career. How does he handle it? That's huge.
At age 15, Liam McGeary was working construction. In his wildest dreams, he could not fathom being on this stage on this night. Jimmy, he says the old lion has had his day.
Very strong words, but the words you expect from a young, brash, undefeated champion.
So much for the better. He goes for the first takedown and he's stuffed by Liam McGeary.
Trying to trap the hand and feed it to his right hand. Bad news for Liam McGeary. He's got it. He'll land some vicious ground and pound from here. There it is.
Hall of Fame ground and pound from Tito Ortiz.
Oh, good left hand.
Strong left hand.
Throwing up his legs, trying to get submissions going. A lot of unorthodox submissions. Now inverted triangle. Got it.
It's over. It's over.
Everything going Tito Ortiz's way. A mental mistake. And Liam McGeary finishes the legend on the ground.
Still, Bellator World Champion, Liam.
It took 10 years to get to this point, but man, what a great night. I thought we had some great fights. We had some technical fights. We had some great submissions, had some great knockouts. I think the fighters really delivered, and you know, this is a league that's growing. Just a really exciting times here at Bellator.
And honestly, man, I thought this was an amazing event for Bellator. I feel like this was one of the better events that Scott Coker put on under the Bellator banner. Everything went right for him on the night, man. I guess you could argue that the tournament got kind of foiled a little bit with King Mo's injury, but they had the result they wanted in the main event. I don't think you want Tito Ortiz being your champion in 2015. You know, shout out to Tito Ortiz, he's a legend, but they wanted Liam McGeary, their guy, to go in there and beat Tito Ortiz. They got that result. It was an exciting finish. They got Phil Davis with 2 finishes, becoming the tournament champion. Their big signing, Josh Thompson, got the win. And just the whole event, I think it looked great. I think the graphics were awesome. I think the walkouts were awesome. I think the old school feel was great. The cage in the ring, I think, was pretty cool. So, honestly, what did you guys think about Bellator 42? And what do you guys think about the big event format in terms of building a promotion? Because I think that this type of events, if they could find the proper fighters and do it in the correct way, put on the right amount of events a year to keep the attention of the fans, I think this could be a great way to build interest in a promotion. But this was an awesome event by Bellator.
It has been a long and winding road for James Thompson. 5 straight wins, including the one over Bobby Lashley 3.5 years ago.
What can you highlight but the weight? Bobby Lashley, 240, a lighter, faster heavyweight. Look at the speed of that takedown.
James Thompson has made trouble and it's over. Wow. The exact fight losing streak, and when he walked through it, everything seemed to change.
He looks like the Michael Chandler of old. Will he do that again? That's the question. Oh my God! Man, what a shot, and he's bleeding severely.
David Rickles in a world of trouble, and it's over. If you didn't know, dangerous moments.
Gene Held really going for this one. Toe hold. He cranked his hard. Now back to the knee bar.
Will Brooks trying not to flatten out.
He might have it. He's got to get his right arm free.
Will Brooks is walking that line right now.
And he's out.
Rashid Held may have been inches from the world title. Will Brooks just sending a message.
Rashid Held seems fatigued.
Will Brooks plays Rashid Held's game, and he beat him out.
For the winner by unanimous decision, and still Bellator Lightweight World Champion
We have waited a long time for this. You don't often get a second chance in life, let alone a third. Daniel Strauss and Patricio Pitbull put on a spectacular show in January. Can Daniel Strauss take the final step and become a world champion?
Set now to make his way to the cage, Daniel Strauss.
Rules in the back protect this yourself at all times and obey my commands at all times. If you want to touch gloves, touch them now. Best of luck to both of you.
So many historic moments have happened inside that cage. Another one about to unfold.
You ready? Get up!
Oh, look at that choke knee. Oh my God! Left hand. Daniel Strauss going for the finish. Pounding up Patricio Pitbull.
This might be it.
Can he survive? The ground and pound continues. Another lap one. Another big lap.
He has not recovered from that shot.
It has been Daniel Strauss's fight, but Pitbull somehow is still in it. We head into the championship rounds, where Daniel Strauss's championship dreams have turned to nightmares.
You got to fight minutes before you can be a champ. You got to fight smart.
Patricio Pitbull still standing.
Does he have another miracle comeback left in him?
He is going for the back. Is Daniel Strauss going to give him the back again?
I do not believe what I am seeing.
Is it possible it could happen again?
Yeah, man, come on.
No, Strauss, come on.
I can't watch. Come on.
This would be an epic collapse for Daniel Strauss if he lost this fight. Can Daniel Strauss escape?
Yes. Get out of there. Get out of there.
He's almost out. And he is out. They are going to the bell. Nice left hook. But it's over.
A spectacular finish.
They all see it for the win by unanimous decision. And now the new Bellator Dynamite World Champion, Daniel Strauss.
And that was another awesome Bellator event to me, man. Pretty sick. I mean, did you see those KOs? Did you see the explosiveness of Daniel Strauss? Awesome event. I feel like it went the correct way for Bellator again in terms of who they want to promote getting the victories. And it looks like Bellator's picking momentum. You could say they're going in the right direction, but what I'm about to show you, I mean, the circus continues, man. This is a fight that they announce on this card that continues to prove the direction that this organization is going in.
What do you have to say to the Bellator fans?
Guys, February 19th, we got a big fight. It's going to be our first tentpole at the Toyota Center, Houston, Texas. The first big fight. We got two main events. I'm just going to introduce them. Kimbo Slice is going to fight down at 5,000. I'm going to bring over Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Come on over, Kurt.
It's going to be the legend Ken Shamrock versus the legend Hoist Gracie.
Come on out, Hoist.